Hi everyone, this is Kellyanne with Church Windows. Welcome to today's user group. Today we're going to take a look at the July 2016 Tech Tips. Those were published last week, and we send you an email to the email on file for your church to let you know they're available. But they all are also on our website. Real quick, before we get into looking at the tech tips, if it's your first time using the GoToWebinar toolbar, hopefully you were watching the PowerPoint that's been playing. That does show you how to use the GoToWebinar toolbar. On that toolbar, there is a question panel, and if you open that up, I won't be unmuting people, but if you have questions today, try to keep those topical on what we're looking at the tech tips, but you can type those in the question panel. And as I'm covering the tech tips, I'll glance over on my second screen, and if I see something I can answer really quickly for everyone, I'll just answer it out loud. Otherwise, if I'm deep in the midst of showing something and I don't see it, Ross is here, and he's going to help answer questions. So most of the questions while I show you the tech tips, Ross will answer those personally for you in the question panel if you type those in. When we're done looking at the tech tips, we'll open the floor for questions that I'll just read out loud and answer so everyone can hear the answer to those. Also, the GoToWebinar toolbar, on the side of it, depending on which side of the screen, you can move it anywhere you want on the screen by grabbing the top of it. But on the side of it is a little red arrow, and if you click on that, it minimizes it. And that way it gets it out of the way of what I'm showing you on the screen. To maximize it back open, to access the question or question panel or anything on it, just click that little arrow again. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead. Let me pause my screen sharing and get rid of this PowerPoint. And let me show you, I remember one thing. Another thing I wanted to mention is on the GoToWebinar toolbar, there should be a handout section. If you click the plus sign just beside that, it opens up, and I've attached the tech tips to that actual GoToWebinar handout section. They're in a PDF format. You can click on that, and it will open them right up. You probably want to look at what's going on screen, but if you have a chance to open that real quick and print them out, you can have them right in front of you. On screen right now, you should see, let me make sure, yes, I showed my screen again. You should see the Church Windows website. Not only do we email the church email we have on file and let you know the tech tips are available, they're always on our website as well. So if you are wondering, why didn't I get an email about last month's tech tips? Just come right on our website. Along the left side, you'll see support, and the fourth thing down is Tech Tips Newsletter. You can click on that, and it takes you right to the page where we store all of our tech tips. We've got them all the way through July of 2014. To view them, you just click on Download Now, and that opens up the exact handout that I have attached to the GoToWebinar toolbar. So let's leave this up on screen, and let's get started. If you look at the top, it's July 2016 Tech Tips. The very first topic here is version 18.15.4. The most current version of Church Windows. If you're not sure what version you are on, let me bring up the screen here. Highlighting in the upper right corner. For more current versions, the version is in the upper right corner. If you're on a very old version, then it would show here above probably the word contributions if you're on an older version. So first place you want to look for your version is in the upper right. And again, the most current version is 18.15.4. If you're not on the most current version, then let me get rid of the drawing here and go back to our tech tips. The most current version is always shown on our website on our updates page. We can access that right from the tech tips by clicking on this link, Download Current Updates. And that takes us right to the Download Current Updates page where we see at the top Church Windows SR4. And as long as your version is any version that starts with 18, you can go right from that version to SR4. That would install any of the prior SRs if, say, you're on 18.15.0. This came out just June 13th. But you do, whenever you install updates, if you're networked, you want to put them on your server. And then also you have to do the install and update on any of your workstations that use Church Windows and are part of that Church Windows network. Also here, there are installation instructions. So if you do this, after hours, support is closed, and you have some questions about installing, click on installation instructions, and you can print these out or just read through them. And they walk you through how to update to SR4. Then also the tech tips do mention, go back to those. Oops, I must have closed it. I've got too many windows open here. I thought I still had it open. We'll just click on it to open it. Here we go. It does tell you here, you can call support, and there's our number, 800-533-5227. And an install tech would be happy to help you if you need help with that download and install, or if something pops up where you're having an issue with that install. All right, let's move on to the next topic of our July Tech Tips, summer tasks. Oftentimes for churches, things slow down a little bit in the summer, and that's a good time for you to do some things like advancing your school grade or advancing the group's classes. Now, those are two separate functions. Advancing the school grade, if we go into membership and members, the school grade is an actual field, whoops, come back here, on the individual's record, and you may or may not use it, but it's this field called school grade. That is completely different from any groups or classes you set up in Church Windows. There's a separate function for advancing the groups and classes. However, let me get back to, I'll show you where those are, but back to the tech tips here. Within the tech tips, it tells you exactly where to go to do those special functions, advanced school grades, and we'll take a look at that. But then it also mentions groups and classes, and not all your groups and classes, you might not advance all of them. Choir, people may stay in choir. There's not like first grade or second grade for Sunday schools. So in groups and classes, you choose which groups and classes you want to advance and what people in those groups and classes you want to advance. That's a little more complicated, so I'm not going to go through doing that. However, I'll show you where you do it. This link, Membership, Advanced School Grades, Groups, Classes, takes you right to a movie on our YouTube channel.
Hi everyone, this is Kellyanne with Church Windows. I am the organizer or presenter for today's user group. Today we're going to look at advancing the school grade and advancing groups classes. Before we begin, just a few quick things. If it's your first time using the GoToWebinar,
within a week.
coming to one of our user groups and using GoToWebinar, you have a toolbar. On that toolbar, you can pick what audio you like.
That link is also available if you just go to YouTube. Probably going into way more detail here. I keep forgetting we have 20 minutes to look at all this. But if we go to YouTube and type in Church Windows, then here we see our Church Windows software logo. If you click on that, that opens up our Church Windows YouTube. And I'm not a YouTube expert. When I go here, I click on videos, and then I see a list where I can do added newest and choose how it's sorted. But here we see just 4 days ago. 4 days ago, we had new movies added. These are all free on our YouTube channel. So, advancing groups and classes. Actually, first, let's look real quick at advancing the school grade. So let's go back to our membership module. To do that, we simply click on Special Functions, and you see there's Advanced School Grade, and that's that little field on the record that I showed you, completely separate and different than your groups and classes you set up and put people in. But Advanced School Grade's a simple function. Just tells me it's going to advance K through 12. It's going to advance the school grade field. It will not advance your groups and classes. Click OK. And it tells me when it was last advanced and if you have login set up, who did it. Well, we can see we're behind here, so we would click OK to advance that. And anyone with a K, it will advance to 1, and then the rest of the numbers, it will advance to the next number. Anyone with a 12 on their record, it would advance to a G for graduate. Anything before or after that, if you set up, pre-K or post-high school grade levels that you're filling in school grade, you would have to manually advance those. This only advances K through 12. And if we were really behind on that, we could go back in to advance again, and it tells us the last time it was advanced was on 7/12/2016, because I just did that. But we saw the last time it was advanced was on 2014, so we're 2 years behind. But the program is smart. It does see it's been less than 9 months since you did this. Are you sure you want to do this? So really read these messages. Well, yes, we know we're 2 years behind. We forgot to do it last year somehow. So we'd say yes, and now it's advancing that one more time. All right, now advancing groups classes. Again, that's a little more involved, so I'll show you how you get to that, but I'm not going to go over all the functions of doing that because we have a lot more topics to get in here in 9 minutes. So we can go to special functions and advanced groups classes. First thing the program recommends, because you're going to be advancing probably a lot of people, and we're human, we make mistakes, make a backup of your data. Go under System Administration and Backup, and then choose where and what you want to back up and make a backup. Then if you make a mistake or move the wrong group forward, you can restore that backup and start over. So we're assuming we made our backup. Here we come into the advanced screen, and we can choose. The first column shows the groups and classes they're in, and then here we would choose the groups or classes we want to move them to, and then we'll highlight the ones we want to advance and click the Advance button. Again, I'm not going to go into detail on that. If we have time at the end of the webinar, I can come back to that, but for more detail on how to do that, oh, did I close that again? I did. Just click on the link within your tech tips. If you bring it up on screen, Membership, Advanced School Grades and Groups Classes, and you can even fast forward in that movie to the section where it starts showing you how to advance those groups classes. All right, the next topic in the tech tips is something people have been asking for a long time. I've been here since either 2007 or 2008, and I've had people asking about a check-in system for children. I don't know if it was possible in the old programming code, but it is here. Church Windows is now partnered with KidCheck. Now, this is not a Church Windows product. We do not sell it. It is not part of your Church Windows program that automatically will be there. Not all churches need this or will utilize something like this. But if you think you want to take a look at a check-in system for checking in children, knowing where they are, I know you can get reports, take attendance in KidCheck, all kinds of things. I need to go explore it because I'm about ready to write that topic for the workbooks. But KidCheck integrates nicely with Church Windows. And here we see late summer or early fall. That's going to be available in version 19. And it is an add-on that you can purchase from KidCheck that will integrate with Church Windows. But as I said here in the tech tips, while you're waiting for version 19 to come out that will have that integration with KidCheck, you can go ahead and take a look on their website and see if it's something you need. Here there are 2 links. If you click on the one that says KidCheck, that just takes you right to the KidCheck website where you can click around and take a look and see what it is and if you like it, if you want to use it. I keep closing the tech tips and not meaning to do that. Should hit back instead. Also here in this topic about KidCheck, there's a link that takes you right to the KidCheck demo. So here you can have a demo of the KidCheck software. You will not be able to integrate anything with Church Windows until version 19 comes out late summer, early fall. But if you want to go ahead and start investigating KidCheck, try the free demo, see if it's something that will work for your church, this information is already available, so you can go ahead and start looking at that and prepare and learn how to use KidCheck so when version 19 comes out, you'll be ready to integrate your KidCheck with church windows. So for everyone who's been asking for a check-in or kiosk type system for checking children into Sunday school or daycare if you run a school, here it is. KidCheck is going to be available for version 19. All right, let's just hit back this time so we go back to our tech tips instead of closing them. All right, so KidCheck, let's move on to our next topic, donations and weekly pledges. This was a suggestion to me from Nikki. She had gotten a lot of calls lately. Churches are starting to get some of their 2017 pledges or pledge campaigns set up and entered. And some people are calling, noticing that weekly pledges for 2017 are calculating 53 rather than 52. So if we go ahead, let me show you what they mean. If we go into donations, I'm just going to click on pledges. We'll click the plus sign here to create I'm just going to call it New Campaign 2017. And I'm not teaching you how to do this here. I want to show you what happens when we put in a weekly pledge for a 2017 campaign. We'll just say it's for the general fund, and then we'll click Add Givers. So let me just pick anyone. We'll pick Jan here. We'll say she's going to give $10. Whoops, not 101. $10 a week. And I'll go ahead and add that giver to the campaign. Oops. Now it's timesing it by 52 here, which is what we want it to do because normally there are 52 weeks in a year. And the reason it's showing correctly there is if I go into Special Functions and Settings, this is in the Donations module again, I can pick a weekday for my weekly pledges. Let me highlight that so you can see what I'm showing you. Now I believe the system defaults to Sundays because that's typically when people give. Let's change it back to Sunday. So usually we count on Sunday being that weekly, the day that the computer programming behind the scenes, it's going to look at how many Sundays are in that particular year and times that pledge by, we would assume, 52. Now I changed that pledge day to Sunday because I want you to see for that 2017 campaign. Notice now with Ms. Adams, the one weekly pledge you just watched me put in, she's doing $10 a week. And when I change that to a Sunday date to calculate, it's going to look at how many Sundays are in the year. Well, in 2017, there are 53 Sundays in the year. So the program is going to see that, and it's going to times that weekly pledge by 53 rather than 52. So if you see that, and you'd rather it times it by 52, because most people, when they say weekly, they're thinking it's going to be 52 times. That's when you can go into, first close this, Special Functions and Settings. And you might need to look at a calendar or keep trying different days until you find a day that it can calculate that weekly pledge based on, where there's only 52. So now if we go back into pledges and take a look at that 2017 campaign, it's only times in it by 52 because in 2017 there are 52 Wednesdays in that year. However, there were 53 Sundays, so that's why it was times in it by 53. All right. So if you look at the frequency and the amount given and it's calculating it differently for that weekly pledge than you expected, then go in and take a look at what date you're asking or day of the week you're asking the program to base that weekly calculation on. All right, we have two more topics here. The second to the last is, please, if your church staff changes or email address changes or jobs are passed on to someone else and somebody else is the main contact, please either give us a call or you can email support@churchwindows.com and let us know the new admin name and if they have a new email, the new email, and that way we can guarantee, or well, it might go to your spam folder. We can't guarantee it will go right to your inbox, but that way we can make sure we're contacting the right person and sending updates and emails about tech tips or new things to the right person at the church. And then last but not least, we include this in every tech tip because we can't stress it enough. Back up your data. Don't rely on Carbonite or some function outside of church windows to back up your data. You can do that, but our techs may or may not know how to get what they need out of that other backup if something happens to your church windows. Church windows has its own inner backup function that's really easy to use, and there's even a link here, more information on backing up your data. Takes you to a PDF that it says, anything can happen. You could get a virus on your computer. Don't just back up right to the desktop of your computer. A lot of churches have a flash drive or multiple flash drives that they will rotate and back up their data to flash drives, something that can be carried out of the church or put in a safe if the church catches fire. Computers get stolen, computer gets a virus, and the backup was on that computer, then your data is lost. Or if some outside backup is made, again, our techs may or may not know how to get your data and what's needed for church windows out of that outside company backup. So making a church windows backup is really easy. I'll show you really quickly here. Oops, if I can get back to my church windows. Here we go. To make a backup, you just go to Admin, Backup. You can choose what you want to back up. I would make a full backup, at least once a week or as often as you don't want to lose data. Then you can click on Browse and choose where you want to back up. If you were putting on a flash drive, you'd look for that location, and then you just click Start Backup. And once it's done, it does ask you to close out of the program. And I already have some backup files, so if you get this message, you'd have to decide, do you want to keep this? This is from 2015, so I'm going to delete those files. And notice it's still backing up, but we see the folder over to the left, CWMSDA, that it's putting this backup in. And ours is pretty large because we have a plethora of different statement designs and check designs and report designs. So we're going to have a whole bunch of files here. It's ridiculously huge. Yours will probably not be this large or say this many files backed up. Yes, over 1,000 files. Yours will probably be maybe 2-digit number or a single-digit number. But once I close, then I can close out of church windows, and now I have a backup on my desktop. Had I backed that up to my flash drive, then I'd have it on the flash drive, and if something happened to my church windows and it crashed and I could not get my data out of church windows, I could still call, have a tech help me reinstall a brand new blank copy of church windows, and then use my flash drive to get my data into church windows, and nothing is lost. All right, so that is everything I wanted to show you. Let me bring those tech tips back up and make sure, but I think I got everything in those tech tips covered. I apologize, I did go over by 3 minutes. If you need to leave the room, then just with the X on the GoToWebinar toolbar, if you click on that, that will close you out of the room. But Ross and I can stick around if you have any questions. Just type those in the question panel and be happy to answer those for you. Not seeing any questions coming in. If you're in mid-type and you have a long paragraph you're typing or something, you might want to go ahead and hit send and then keep typing the rest of it, and that way I won't close the room before you finish typing your question. Okay, someone said my IT backs up church windows, whatever. I'm not sure what the whatever was about. Well, I would definitely make sure your IT guy is doing a church Windows backup, not just a backup of your computer, but an actual church Windows backup. Because there's a difference between backing up your computer and doing a church Windows backup. So I would ask your IT guy, how are you backing up my church Windows? And if he isn't going into church Windows and then system or admin and backup, then I would show him that document, give him a flash drive, and I would make sure he's backing it up at least once a week, as often as you don't want to lose data. If you are putting new things in every day and lots of data, and you don't want to lose that data, then make a backup every day before you leave. But I mean, how often you back up is up to you, but I would say at least once a week, maybe even more often if you're a large church where you're putting tons of data in on a daily basis. When we used to go out and do regional training on the road, we would say back up as often as you don't want to lose data. Because with computers, you never know what could happen with the computer. And she asked, should I do the church Windows backup as you suggest? Yes, I would. You can't have to, making a backup doesn't hurt anything. So I would rather, know that I have a backup as well, just in case my IT guy isn't backing up as often as I am. Any other questions? You're welcome. Now, if you're on the cloud, that's a little different because your data is hosted out on the cloud. But if you have a regular church Windows on your PC, networked or non-networked, then definitely make backups regularly. Any other questions? All right. Well, I do hope you learned something today, and if you weren't aware of the tech tips, you know they're there now. Hopefully you find them useful. If you ever have suggestions for something in tech tips that maybe a tech told you about you didn't know and it was a great suggestion for you, feel free to email those to support@churchwindows.com. I took over writing the tech tips when Kay retired last year, or beginning of this year. So I'm always welcoming suggestions for tech tips and things you find useful. All right. Well, thank you everyone for attending. I hope you have a great day and feel free to sign up for more webinars. If you have questions about anything that was covered in the tech tips, maybe a question pops up later, give us a call or email support@churchwindows.com. Thanks again for attending, and everyone have a great day. Bye.